going to obviously have Professor Gautam Mandavada speak to you about these research techniques, and he will talk in great detail. We have got 5 days, no worries. So please have patience, and we will learn a lot altogether. But before we start the program, let me introduce to you Professor Dr. Shaukat Moitro, our Vice Chancellor of Maulana Abul Kalam Azad University of Technology, West Bengal. Sir, I would request you to kindly inaugurate this 5-day faculty development program, and I would request you to say a few words in the beginning, sir.
Okay.
To you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you, Professor Sujit Mukherjee. So, for us, this is the first time through the virtual mode, we are starting one faculty development program. Since the onset of the pandemic scenario, we organized large numbers of webinars, and perhaps that is also a record in the entire country. Hundreds and hundreds of webinars were being organized. Now we are thinking how to make this all these teaching learning exercises more effective. And because we are not sure that when this traditional mode of continuation of all this academic practice will start, because of the fact that that still we are seeing that these curves and graphs are regarding this COVID pandemics and COVID infections and all these things. These are uprisings, and we are not in a position to predict that the situation, the normalcy by that time when it can restore. This is difficult to predict right now. But one thing is that we perhaps have to continue this existing way of learning exercises for some times to come, and therefore we decided to engage ourselves in more meaningful learning activities. And faculty development program is one of the this important component of all our educational systems, because these faculties, they need to be trained, they need to be reskilled to keep them more updated, more aligned with the changing context of academics, changing context of pedagogy, all this in embracing these different techniques, different tools associated in delivering quality teaching, effective teaching, and that is true for each and every academic institute. So therefore, this times we are trying to percolate this knowledge from experts to the faculties through this digital mode in the form of these faculty development programs. And this will be similar to the traditional program in the sense that the duration of these programs is substantially higher. It will be 5 days program, and after that the faculty will get their certificates, and from as it is being conducted from the university, it will carry equal weightage as it was in traditional mode or physical mode of this practice. So this is one of the message I would like to convey to all the faculties to take it in a more serious note. I know that is difficult, but when this in traditional systems of physical mode, where you are coming to any institutes and you are keeping some times over there, getting detached from your home and all these things, and having more scope to focus. In digital mode, as you are at your home, so therefore it may be a little bit challenging to keep all your attention and all your focus to this learning process. But my suggestion to this is here we have to learn how to engage ourselves in these practices. My suggestion will be that to take a note of all these things. Please keep a piece of paper with in front of you like this, what I am keeping, and instead of mere listening or mere looking at screen for some time for this prolonged duration, try to take notes. And at the same time, I am also keeping my cell phone like this. Some terms which is not being understood, I can immediately search over here and try to make my understanding more clear. This is called active way of learning. And this is my suggestion to all of you is kindly engage yourselves in active way of learning to make this learning process effective. Because I am telling you, as you are spending time, and time is very, very scarce item for each and every human being. We have a limited period to stay at our physical mode of existence. So whatever time we are spending, whatever time we are using for all these purposes, that should be this effective utilizations as far as our effort is concerned. Maybe sometimes it is not in our hand, we cannot this utilize our time in that way, but that depends on the situation and circumstances. But as it is within your hand, so there should be certain this embracing of certain practices and cultures to make this learning process more effective. And that will give you see, when that will give you get rid of all this monotony and this drudgery of all this process. Because sitting before this screen looking at this screen and absorbing all the glare from the screens and without feeling the physical warmth of the speaker at the other side, physical warmth of your peers besides you, it is difficult. But not so this difficult, but not impossible, in the sense that here the challenge is on you, how you are engaging yourself, how you are this focusing a quality time, spending a quality time in this process. So this is and at the end of the time, at least there should be certain development at your level of understanding. That should be the outcome. And that these true assessors of all this exercise, it should be one himself or herself, because we will be able to know how far we are getting on this. Because many times this assessment is done by others, but now the self-assessment is taking the center stage, or this all this assessment process. We have to go for deep introspection to understand what is the level of this development within our this knowledge domain or understanding. So that is from my side. So I wish that all of you are this serious, sincere, and you will have this more this dedication and devotion towards towards your self upgradation. That's why you have assembled over here. And I wish all of you a very effective, engaging, and interesting learning. Professor Gautam Bandyopadhyay is here. He has a long period of experiences here and wisdom with him. He will share all these things. Try to utilize his experience, his wisdom to the best of your ability from your side, and get yourself engaged in secondary and tertiary way of understanding, because most of the times it may not be possible to interact with the speaker, but post your queries at the chat box and take a note and then consult these Googles and all other these web browsers for better understanding of these things, and make your own notes. So with this small piece of advice, I would like to congratulate Professor Sujit Mukherjee for organizing this faculty development program from this university side for the first time in the virtual platforms. And my thanks goes to Dr. Gautam Bandyopadhyay, who will be spending his valuable time, will be sharing his knowledges and understanding. Whenever time will permit, I'll join, because this is the time for me to attend many webinars at the same time for a point of time. Only 1 hour before, I had to attend 3 webinars simultaneously. So, and today I had almost 8 webinars. So where this is one and another one is to come. So the thing is there. Okay, this has to be managed in this time. I do not have any this complaint or regrets for that. I enjoy your company. I enjoy this knowledge and wisdom, this sparkle and all this this from all these renowned speakers, the pieces of wisdom and all these things. And this by way I enrich myself also. And I believe that there is no end of learning. Learning can always happen. This is the time for lifelong learning. And another term is learn, unlearn, relearn. Whatever we have learned earlier may not be relevant right now. We have to shed, like they shed all this backdated or obsolete learning to make our mind and memory more free to think for more innovative things and to learn new things. So learn, unlearn, relearn is the new way of this philosophy in our learning systems. And there are many, many things in knowledge domain. So many knowledges are being developed, generated. It is fascinating. And we have all of have. And this is the best time because all of us have access to that. Dr. Gautam Bandyopadhyay, he spent his life to gather many pieces of knowledge because at our times, we did not have enough opportunity to access to huge resources of this knowledge, which happened right now after this emergence of these internet services in late 90s and right now with this deluge of knowledge and information. Now, right now it's available, but we need a guide who had these long years of experiences in advising us, in guiding us to select those right pieces of information, all these things. So with this, I wish all the best and wish this program a grand success. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. So, dear participants, you have heard Professor Sharikaf Mitra, Honorable Vice Chancellor, MAKAUT, West Bengal, true leader par excellence, moving inspiration, and somebody who continues to motivate us every day, day in and day out. And that's why we have been able to organize this program as well, apart from several webinars and several online programs that we've already done. Now, before I hand over proceedings to Professor Bandyopadhyay, who is very, very well known and needs no introduction at all. He has been the teacher, guide, supervisor, trainer to so many of us that I think there is hardly anyone here who needs any introduction to Professor Gautam Bandyopadhyay from NIT Durgapur. Before I hand over proceedings to him, I'll briefly tell you that this is going to last for 2 hours and we are going to come back for 4 more days. So there's a lot of time you can learn. Kindly do not post any frivolous things on the chat because that's going to disturb the flow of discussions. Whatever questions you might have, please put them in the Q&A box. Professor Bandyopadhyay will certainly take them up for a discussion at the end of his deliberations. So kindly have patience and you may raise your hands if you have questions. We will give you an opportunity to speak also, okay? Over to Professor Bandyopadhyay and let's start the program. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you, sir. Good afternoon, sir. Respected Professor VC, sir. Respected Professor Sujit Mukherjee, and all participants present here. So really from the VC sir lecture, it's a learning for me, sir. Thank you, sir. And sir, from lecture, I am really motivated. So from your lecture, I like to say only one word. The research is nothing but a formula P to the power n. P to the power n, and where P is the practice, P is the patience. And actually, if you have the patience, you practice for n times. So n maybe n can take any value.
And so, another meaning of P, perseverance.
Yeah, perseverance is the overall, so a superset. That is a superset. Okay. Under perseverance, practice, patience, and then your perfection will come. So, so definitely, my dear all patients, I will try my level best to give my concept to you. So I know that research there is no full stop. There are several commas. So I could not say after 5 days there will be a full stop. Okay. So with this very small words, so I'd like to start, sir. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you.
So my dear participants, so today I try to divide my lecture into 4 parts. So my first part is, what is research? So I will give you my presentation after shortly. And then I'll give the concept of testing of hypothesis, which is very, very important for the research, because today's topic is the basic statistics. And then I'll give some concept of measure of scaling, which is very useful for the data entry part. That is the primary data. And lastly, for the today's class, I'll show some SPSS case study, small case study using SPSS. Okay. And only for you, I'm telling you, if you give time, I know during my session, you have so many questions in mind. So after my completion of the lectures, so you just write in your chat box. And if it is not able to give your answers today, so again, tomorrow, definitely when I have the class, so before 15 minutes, I will start the class only for answering the question for the last class. Okay. So with this, I'm starting my class. First of all, you tell me it is visible to all of you or not. Hello, sir. Hello, Shoikot.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
It is visible, sir.
Professor Sujit Mukherjee, is it visible?
Yes, sir, it is visible.
Okay. So before starting about the research methodology, so first of all, we have to know what is the research. Research basically divide. Actually, I'll give some very broad sense, not in detail, because maximum you are doing the research, maximum already you completed your PhD. Also, already you have given so many guidance for your students. So I'll give simple concept briefing of the research. So definition of research divided in basically three parts. One is the philosophy, that is the approaches, validity, reliability, and the unbiasedness and objectives. Obviously, what is the philosophy? The philosophy means approaches, that is qualitative and quantitative, and the academic discipline in which you have been trained. Academic discipline means that is your domain specific. Okay. So, and what is the validity and reliability? Validity means that the correct procedures have been applied to find answer to a question. And reliability refers to the quality of a measurement procedure that provides repeatedly and accuracy. I'm giving a simple concept. Suppose you are doing your research with some data. The data basically two types, one is the primary and secondary. So when you collect the primary data set, so this validity and reliability is very important. Because for the primary data, when you go for collection, so that is basically based on the psychological part. You are going to the respondents giving their answers. So how do you know the answers is correct or not? So definitely you have to check, you have to validate your data set is correct or not. Otherwise, your report or your answer will not be coming. Your model will be coming later on. So that's why this validity, reliability is very important part. And unbiasedness and objective. So unbiasedness and objective means that you have taken each step in an unbiased manner. And that each step means, suppose you go for, when you're preparing your questionnaire, so in the questionnaire, there is no biased question. So questionnaire always the unbiased question, and that's why it is called unbiased manner. And draw each conclusion to the best of your ability and without introducing your own vested interest. This is very, very important. You don't put your own vested interest. Okay. So next part is what is the research? So research basically a structured inquiry that utilize acceptable scientific methodology to solve problems and create new knowledge that is generally applicable. So I'm telling you every PPT I will share you after the class. So if you take some notes, don't take any notes from my PPT. Some extra thing you can write, that is your part. So scientific methods consist of systematic observations, classification, and interpretation of data. So then characteristics of research. So certain characteristics, which is a very, very important: control, rigorous, systematic, valid, and verifiable, empirical, and critical. So I'll come later on. So this is the basically types of research. Application of research study, objective in undertaking the research. Inquiry mode employed from the process adopted to find answer to the research questions. And this is very important. There are two types of research. One is a structured approach, another is the unstructured approach. Now, this is when you start your research, so you have to follow some steps. So these are the research process, everyone knows. One is the formulating the research problem, extensive literature review, developing the objectives, preparing the research design, including sample design, collecting the data, analysis of the data, generalization, interpretation, and preparation of the report or presentation of results format, writes up the conclusion reached. So then types of measurement scale, which is very, very important, already I told you. So when you start your research with some questionnaire form, so you need this. So we know there are 4 types of measurement scale. One is the nominal scale, ordinal scale, interval scale, and ratio scale. So I will discuss in detail later on. So there are 4 types of measurement scale. And this is the concept of nominal, I will discuss later on. This is the concept of ordinal, and this is the concept of interval scale, and this is the concept of ratio scale. I'll give the concept example as well as the concept later. Next part is the constructing hypothesis, which is very, very interesting or important for any kind of research. So, because the functions of hypothesis, I will come to the, because I know initially I told you, my today's lecture basically divided into 4 parts. So, testing of hypothesis is one part. So, I'll give the concept of hypothesis in detail, that part. So, this is one part of the research construction of hypothesis. And when you go for construction of hypothesis, obviously, you have to know what are the functions of the hypothesis. Okay. So, now the preparing the research design, because if you don't know the research design, so how you research, then how you collect your data set, how you go for your questionnaire design. So naturally this questionnaire design, your methodology part definitely depending on the research design. So research design is very, very important tool for any kind of research, basically based on primary data. So objective of the research study, method of data collections to be adapted, sources of information, that is the sample design, tools of data collection, and data analysis, maybe the qualitative, maybe the quantitative. So that is based on your research design. So now the objective of the research study, I have not explained anything because that is based on your domain. So that is the domain specific. That's why it is blank is given, objective of the research study. So now the methods of data collections. There are 2 types of data, you know, the primary data, and which is the collected for the first time. Another is the secondary data, those which have already been collected and analyzed by the someone else. Okay, so that is basically we are collecting the secondary data from the internet, different journal, different books, and basically we are go for primary data, maybe the survey-based design or maybe the questionnaire formation. Okay, so then survey method. So this is very, very important. What is the survey method? Survey method, that is the unstructured survey, and survey research may be direct or indirect. And direct approach, the researchers ask direct questions about behaviors and thoughts. Direct question, that is, why don't you eat at the McDonald's? This is the direct question. This is called the direct approach of the survey method. And what is the indirect approach? The researcher might ask, what kind of people eat at McDonald's? So this is the 2 types of survey research. Maybe you can ask the question directly, or you can ask the question indirectly. So, and this is definitely for any method there is some advantage and there is some limitation. So for the survey method, advantages can be used to collect many different kinds of informations, quick and low cost as compared to the observations and experimental method. And there are limitations, respondents' reluctance to answer questions asked by unknown interviewers about things they consider private. Busy people may not want to take the time, may try to help by giving pleasant answers, unable to answer because they cannot remember or never give a thought to what they do and why, may answer in order to look smart or well informed. So this is the limitation of survey method. And if there are another method is the contact methods. So we can collect the informations maybe by the mail, telephone, or the personal interview. And this is the very, very important for the research, that is the sampling techniques. And there are so many techniques like the probability samples and the non-probability samples. And in case of probability samples, we are using simple random sample, stratified sample, and cluster or the cluster sample. And non-probability sample, convenience sample, judgment sample, and quota sample. So obviously, in most of the research, we are going for probabilistic samples. Okay. And guidelines to construct a research tool. The underlying principle behind the guidelines suggested below is to ensure the validity of your instrument by making sure that your question related to the objective of your study. This is the very, very important, because for any kind of research, if we have some title of the research, and on the basis of the title, you prepare your objective of the research study. So naturally, for the objective of the study, you have to follow some steps. Now, step 1 is clearly define and individually list all the specific objective or research questions for your study. Step 2 is for each objective or research questions, list all the associate questions. Then that you want to answer through your study. Okay. Step 3 is take each research question listed in step 2, which are given in step 2, and list the information required to answer it. And the step 4 is formulate questions to obtain these informations. So now the questionnaire form, which is a very, very important part for any kind of primary research. So in case of structured survey or interviews employ the use of questionnaires. A questionnaire consists of a set of questions, presented to a respondent for answers. The respondents read the questions, interpret what is expected, and then write down the answer themselves. It is called interview. Schedule: when the researcher asks a question and if necessary explain them, and record the respondent's reply on the interview schedule. Because there are many ways to ask the questions. The questionnaire is very flexible. Questionnaires should be developed and tested carefully before being used on a large scale. There are three basic types of questionnaire. One is the closed-ended questionnaire, one is the open-ended questionnaire, one is the combination of both. So closed-ended questionnaire, so maximum researcher prefer the closed-ended questionnaire. So closed-ended questions include all possible answers or pre-written response categories, and respondents are asked to choose among them, that is multiple choice questions. That is the scale questions, which we are telling the Likert scale or anything else, okay? Type of questions used to generate statistics in quantitative research. So we formulated such questions where we can apply some statistics. So as these follow a set format and most responses can be entered easily into a computer for ease of analysis, greater numbers can be described. So this is the closed-ended questionnaires. Now what is the open-ended questionnaire? Open-ended questions allow respondents to answer in their own words. Maybe sometimes it is difficult. Questionnaire does not contain boxes to tick out. Instead leaves a blank section for the respondent to write in an answer. Whereas closed-ended questionnaires might be used to find out how many people user open-ended questionnaires might be used to find out what people think about a service. As there are no standard answer to this question, data analysis is more complex. Okay. So as it is opinions which are short rather than numbers, fewer questionnaires needed to be distributed. This is very, very interesting for open-ended. So I'm going for a combination of both. I'll go for. So this is why it is possible to find out how many people use a service and what they think of service in the same form, and begins with a series of closed-ended questions with boxes to tick or scales to rank, and the finish with a section of open-ended question, more detailed response. Okay. Now, how to construct the questionnaire? This is the very interesting part. In the questionnaires, always try to avoid the negative questions, and which have not in them as it confusing for respondent to agree or disagree. Another thing, question should not contain any prestige bias, causing embarrassment or forcing the respondent to give the false answer or in order to look good. Question about educational qualification or income might elicit this type of response. So use indirect question for sensitive issue. This is very, very important. In indirect question, respondents can relate their answer to the other people. So this is the how to construct a questionnaire. This is the very, very important rule. Now, and these are so many things. I'll give you my PPT. So I'm not reading. So because so many things are left for the today's class. So this is the piloting. This is very, very important. So before going any research basically for the primary data, go for piloting the questionnaire, pilot survey. So I'm giving a very simple concept. So when you go for pilot survey, better first of all make your questionnaire and collect the answer from the different respondents, at least the 50 respondents. And on the 50 respondents, after analyzing through different statistical software or different statistical method, so you can check your questionnaire is valid or wrong. So valid or wrong. So naturally, after checking your questionnaire is it valid or wrong, so there you will get the scope for modification of the questionnaire. So that is a very interesting for the pilot survey. And for some study, you can do pilot survey twice. Okay, so but because say after one pilot survey something is left, say some modification is left, and go for second pilot survey, and after first stage and second stage, and go for your final questionnaire. Okay, so this is very, very important, the pilot survey concept. And naturally, the collecting data, processing and analyzing data, definitely collection of data depending on your objectives of your research. Okay. And this is the data analysis method. There are different types of data analysis method. One is the qualitative data analysis. One is the manual data analysis, because we should calculate manually. And naturally, for when you go for the manual calculation, it is not possible to solve a huge large data set. So that is why, because manual data analysis is extremely time consuming. The easiest way to do this is to code it directly onto the large graph paper in columns, and detailed headings can be used for the question number. This is very, very important. Detailed headings can be used, or the question numbers can be written on each column to code information about the question. To manually analyze data, that is the frequency distribution, count various codes in a column and then record them. So, and in addition, if you want to carry out statistical tests, they have to be calculated manually. However, the use of statistics, depending on your expertise and the desire or / need to communicate the findings in a certain way. So now this is our today's class. Basically, we nowadays, most probably after 2000 era, we are using different computer softwares for the data analysis. So basically, for the data analysis, we are using the software SPSS for Windows. But for nowadays, for SPSS having some limitation, I will come later on. And but however, data input, but SPSS is very user friendly. And however, data input can be long and laborious process. And if data is entered incorrectly, it will influence the final result. So this is the very, very important part of the data entry part. Okay. But nowadays, we are using some open source software like R/RStudio, Python, and Jamovi. But recently, Jamovi is recently installed. That is all open source. And another menu-driven software like SPSS is the StatCraft. So if I get time, so definitely I'll tell you what is the advantage of StatCraft and Jamovi. And today I'll tell you, I'll take your class only with the SPSS. And tomorrow I'll start my class with the Jamovi concept, a little bit Jamovi concept, and then I'll start my multiple regression. Because from tomorrow's class, I will take the help of SPSS as well as Jamovi. Okay. So this is the concept of data analysis method. So now I am coming to the part reporting the findings. This is the last part of the research. So writing the report is the last, and for many the most difficult step of the research process. The report informs the world that what you have done and what you have discovered and what your conclusion you have drawn from your findings. The report should be written in an academic style. Language should be formal and not the journalistic. Okay. So this is the my simple concept about the research concept. Okay. So now I'm going to my today's topic, that is the basic statistics. So I'm telling you, so everyone present here know the meaning of statistics. So I'm coming to this part, what part we need for statistics. So statistics we start from this, the first letter, first word, that is the estimation of population parameters on the basis of sample statistics. So naturally you can ask me, sir, what is the meaning of population? So population is a very big term. It is composed of maximum numbers, suppose capital N. Okay. So I can give you so many answers. Suppose if we consider India as a country, so with respect to India, India is a population. Total population of India is the most probably 137 crores. And with respect to India, there are so many states. So naturally, states are the subset of the India. All states are the subset of India. So that is the concept of population. And what is the parameters? Parameters is nothing but the characteristics of the population. Okay. And characteristics of the population, maybe, I don't know, since what is the meaning of characteristics? Characteristics basically in terms of statistics, we can understand what is the average of this thing. So average is one characteristic. What is the standard deviation of this? This is another characteristic. So better to say characteristics of the population. So parameters, and this characteristic of the population is not easy to calculate. Question is why? Because the population is very large. So naturally, if we go for the complete enumeration of the total population, so time is a factor. And when a time is a factor, cost is a factor. So we know if the time increases, cost also increase, because cost is a function of time. And since time increases, cost is automatically the profit will decline. So obviously welcome the statistics, that is welcome with the sample. So that's why you don't go for the complete population. We go for the some sample which is the relevant sample which we draw from the population. So parameter means, so that means parameter characteristics of population is not known initially. So we have to estimate, we have to calculate that population parameter with the help of sample characteristics. Sample characteristic means sample statistics. So statistics is nothing but the characteristics of the sample. So this is, I think this is the simple definition of statistics, that is the estimation of population parameters on the basis of the sample statistics. So to understand this, first of all, we have to know what is the meaning concept of data. So already I told you. So there are two types of data. One is the primary data, another is the secondary data. Already I told you. So that is, first of all, you have to know what is the primary and what is the secondary. And then we have to know what is the concept of variable. How many variable involved with it. I'm telling you about one thing. Suppose if we start with a single variable, say age. Age is a single variable. I'm collecting a data from age only. So age is a single variable. So then if we collect the age and income, that is a true variable. So naturally, so the concept of variable may be the univariate, maybe the univariate, maybe the bivariate, maybe the multivariate. So concept of parameter oil, already I told you, that is the parameters means, that is the population characteristics. Okay. And concept of statistics, I'm coming one part. Suppose I'm calculating some observations are given, say observation say 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Only the 5 observations are given. So when the 2, 4, 6, 8 or 5 observations are given, so automatically we can calculate, okay, 2 plus 4 equal to 6, 6 plus 6, 12, 12 plus 8, 20, 30. So naturally, some of the 5 observation is 30, some of the 5 observation. So easily we can calculate the mean. The mean, that is 30 by 5, that is 6. So that means the concept of this is one characteristics. When you collect the 5 observation, that is the individual observations. And that one thing you have to remember, the statistics deals with the aggregate, not with the individual. So when you go for statistics, so we calculate the aggregate characteristics. So what is the aggregate characteristics? The first aggregate characteristics is the average. Okay, so what is average means? We have some observations, just simply add divided by number of observations. Okay, and now we have to know what is the concept of different types of univariate measures with example. Okay, univariate measures means which is related to only a single variable. Single variable. So for this single variable, we first of all, what measures we take statistically. So statistically, if one variable is given, we can easily calculate the mean. And the problem of suppose then you can say, sir, with the only one mean, can we estimate all the things? Answer is no, because first of all you have to know if the data set is scattered or not. I'm giving a very simple example, try to understand. So for this, I will use my some chalk and board. Okay. Hello.
Yes, sir, you are audible, sir.
My audible? Actually, I like to use another slide. So how can I do that?
Sir, in the screen sharing top section.
Top section.
The top section, there is, sir, some anode things. Some option is there.
Anode,
Icon,
okay.
anode. Yes, sir. Click on that. You will find various options.
Okay. Anode thing. No. I need the paint option. Actually,
Yes.
that is in my taskbar.
Sir, in anode only you can find out, sir.
I want to write something.
Yes, sir, using anode, sir, there is a text box.
There is a text box, okay.
Yes, sir, you can click on text.
You can click on text, okay.
And you can write at anywhere.
Okay, then I can. Yeah.
Yes, sir, you have to click at any part where you want to write.
No. Actually, I want to use my digital board, okay. So I need
you can use the digital board, sir.
I need paint option, and that is already given in my taskbar. But then another, I think, stop sharing, that I can do that. That I know.
Yes, yes. Stop sharing, then paint option.
And
Yes,
that
sir.
I can do that. That I can do that. That I can do that. But we are getting this advantage in the team. No need to stop sharing at every time. Okay. Okay, no problem. That I know. Is it visible?
Not yet, sir.
Okay. Not yet, na?
No.
Okay. Now it is visible?
Yes. No, the screen has come back, sir.
Actually, I need to that screen actually. Okay, I understand now. This is the problem facing actually. Now it is visible?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. So just I am showing. Okay, then you can understand what is the meaning of this, why we need the different types of statistics like mean, standard deviation. Say I have the observation say 10, 20, 30 is and 40 and 50. So just you tell how many observations. Obviously n equal to 5. Here the observation is n equal to 5. So just if you take the mean of these observations, if you take the mean of the observations, we get 150 is the sum, that is 30 is the mean. 30 is the mean. If you take the median of the observation, so median also 30. So here mean and median are all same. But if we take the 200 is the other observation and 5 is in the left side, five is another observation. So instead of 5 observations, initially the 5 observations are 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. These are the initial 5 observations. Okay. And now when we take the initial 5 observation, here the mean is 30 and median also 30. But if we add more 2 observations, one in the right hand side and one in the left hand side, so just to check the mean values are changed. Because in case of mean, we have to add all 7 observations and divide by 7. But in case of median, arranged increasing order of the observations and middlemost value is that, so there is no change of median. So very interesting part, that is mean dependent on the extreme values. Okay. And again, so I want to write another data set, say 10, another data set 25, 30, then 35, and sorry, this should be 40, 35, 10, 35, yeah, 35 and 50. So just to check, if we have the 5 observation, so again, we can calculate the mean is also 30. So initially, so this is the set 1. In case of set 1, we have taken 5 observations. Suppose 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. Here the mean is 30. And here again the 5 observations. The 10, 25, 30 and 35, 50. Again the mean is 30. So in both cases, the mean is 30. So automatically you can ask the question, yes sir, all sir, this is the all data set are same. So obviously the answer is no, there is some change. 20 is replaced by 25 and 40 is replaced by 35 and all other three members are same and mean values are same. So is all the data set are equally consistent? The answer is no. So naturally by manual observations, we can tell that the second data set is more consistent in manual observation rather than compared to the first observations, first 5 observations. Why? Because in both the case 30 is the mean. Both the case 30 is the mean, but for the first case the 20 is near to 30 in the left hand side and 40 is right hand side of 30. And the difference of 30 and 40, that is 10, and difference of 20 in the left hand side, that is the minus 10. And if you come to the second part, 30 and 35 difference is plus 5 and 30 and 25 the difference is a minus 5. So difference with respect to the mean for the neighboring points is less in the second case. So we can consider, we can tell that since the observations are near to mean, the neighboring point, so second set is the consistent. But it is not possible when we have a large data set. So for the large data set, we have to calculate the another characteristics. So that characteristics, it's known as, the standard deviation. So I'm telling you, when you go for our different types of multivariate analysis, like logistic regression, discriminant, anything, so mean and standard deviations are very, very important for this multivariate analysis. So maybe you can tell, sir, this is a very basic thing. So for my perception, I'm telling you, this is the most important part for any kind of univariate, bivariate, and multivariate analysis. Okay. So for the first, again, I'm repeating. So that means the mean is the characteristics one sample. And another thing. So since this is the just to check, this is this is the notation I'm using. Just to try to observation, I'm using this notation mu, and I'm using the notation x bar. I'm using the notation sigma, and I am using the notation of s. So now you can tell me, sir, what is the difference? The first notation mu, and that is based on the population number, population size. And this second notation x bar is based on sample size. So obviously the sample size is less than the population size. Similarly, the sigma, that is the population standard deviation, and small s is based on sample standard deviation. So what is the objective? This mu is the population parameter, sigma is the population parameter, x bar is the sample statistics, small is the sample statistics. So in the statistics, these population parameters are not known. So we have to estimate these population parameters with the help of sample statistics. So for the estimation of mu, we have to take the help of sample mean, that is x bar. For the estimation of standard deviation, that is population standard deviation sigma, we have to take the help of small s. Similarly, when you go for the different bivariate case, so I'm telling about when you go for the correlation, so there is some population correlation and sample, that is a bivariate case, which is based on the two variables. When you go for beta regression coefficient, so then that capital beta is the population parameter, small beta, small b is the sample characteristic. So in this way, this is the concept of population parameter and sample statistics. So in our basic statistics, if we go from our statistics class, any book that is started from data collection, and there's a graphical presentation, and then the first chapter is frequency distribution. So from the frequency, why we apply the frequency distribution? Because initially when we collect the data from the market or from any internet, that is basically from the raw form. So naturally there is the individual form, and for the statistical uses, we have to make it the group form. And for the group form, maybe in the class interval, class boundary, and from the group form, we have to know what is the frequency. Because if we know the frequency, so we have some idea. And that we can be naturally plotted in the different form. There are different types of plot. For this 5-day session, maybe not possible for detailing about the graphical portion. So the detailing part of graph, you have to know what is the bar chart, you have to know what is the histogram, you have to know what is the pie chart, you have to know what is the box plot. And naturally, since we from tomorrow, we'll use another software like Jamovi. And there is another extension of graph that is called validity plot. And everything for graphical, we can understand what is the visualization of the data. We can understand. And not only that, from the graph, we can understand what is the concentration of the data in which area. So definitely and naturally, there are so many parts we'll discuss. So from the mean, standard deviation, and another two measures are very, very important for our multivariate case. One is the, skewness and kurtosis. So I'm telling you a very interesting part. So in case of statistics, basically, there are four measures we'll apply for the univariate measures. One is the mean, and that is the first order measures. Another is the standard deviation, that is called the second order measures. Another is the skewness, it is the third order measures. Another is the kurtosis, is the fourth order measures. So these are very, very important, because anything, if you want to capture about a population, so maybe first order and second order is not enough. So then we go for the skewness and kurtosis. So definitely one by one, I'll discuss this thing. Okay. So next part is okay. This is visible to all of you. This is Professor Manos, Mr. Soik, Professor Mukherjee.
Yes,
It is visible, sir.
just share it.
No, this is visible or not?
Yeah,
Yes,
yes,
sir.
sir. Yes, sir. This is visible. Okay,
Now
it's
I'm
okay,
coming
sir.
to the part, I understand. Now I'm coming to the part. So univariate measures, the concept of bivariate measures. So
Yes, sir.
automatically you have to know concept of bivariate measures. This part I will explain detail in tomorrow's class, because tomorrow I will start the correlation regression. So I'm giving the detailing part of bivariate measures. And for our research methodology, we need some concept of probability. Because when you collect the data, why we collect the data for building some model, and since we know some input, maybe output is not known. So basically our output is basically unknown, that is mean uncertain. And since in our research uncertainty occurs maximum time, so we have to know the probability. Not only that, our total data analysis, maximum data, no maximum key 99% data analysis based on probability. So it's my request to all of participants, because within these 5 days it is not possible to take a probability class. So, but you have to know what is probability. Probability is nothing but a some ratio of part. There is a for some event there is some success and there is a failure. Okay, and naturally, so for the success and failure, we can represent by some probability. If P is the probability of success and Q is the probability of failure, so that sum must be equal to 1. So that is probability is a binary case. Probability is a binary case. Suppose if we know the term binomial distribution, I'm giving a simple example, then you can understand what is the meaning of probability. Suppose in examination in a paper, the total marks of a paper is 100. Okay, so and you get in mathematics or statistics or any paper 80. So naturally your probability of success is 80 by 100. So obviously, automatically your probability of failure is 20 by 100. So P is the probability of success and Q is the probability of failure. So that is the probability. And for our case, one thing is very, very important part. We need to know what is the conditional probability. Number one, we have to know the repeated trial. We have to know another thing. We have to know the the Bayes theorem. Okay, so these three things are very, very important for the probability. And another terms are very important. What is the mutual exclusive? And what is the mutual? Suppose in case of probability, there are two events. And if one event occurs and the other events will not occur, so this is the case of mutual exclusive. So it is I'm requesting to all of you. So from any textbook you can get it. What is the concept of probability? So mainly our applications, so we need the application form probability. One is the concept of probability. What is the concept of conditional probability? What is the repeated trial? That is what is the theorem of probability and what is the Bayes theorem? And this is our form the probability. We need this. Okay. And another thing after probability, which is very, very important, we need the concept of probability, random variable. So concept of random variable, because question is why? Because the difference between variable and random variable. So variable means which is not probabilistic, which is certain. But when a variable comes with some probability, I'm not giving the definition, I'm giving the philosophy, the concept. When the variable is coming some probability, that is called the random variable. I'm giving a simple example, then you can understand. Say, suppose a box contains say 5 red and 2 black balls. Very simple concept, 5 red and 2 black balls. So 5 red and 2 black balls means the total 7 black balls. And if we draw the 2 balls at random, just to check, if there are total 7 balls, out of 7 balls, 5 are red and 2 are black. And you have draw 2 balls. And naturally, and 2 balls you are drawing at random. So what is the meaning at random? That any 2 ball may come. Maybe out of these 2 balls, maybe 2 balls may come. Maybe 2 red balls may come. Maybe 2 black balls may come. Maybe 1 red and 1 black ball may come. So this is the concept of random variable. That is, one variable takes 2 red ball. One variable takes 2 black ball. And one variable takes 1 red and 1 black. So that is the concept of random variable. So naturally, when the variable takes the different types of balls, automatically the probability will change. That means simply we can say when a variable comes with a certain probability, it is basically random variable. I know this is not the exact definition. I'm not going in exam definition, you feel bored. So simply for understanding, when a variable comes with a certain probability, okay, so that is a random variable. So when you go for the random variable, so there are 2 types of random variable in our analysis. One is a discrete random variable, another is the continuous random variable. So naturally you can, so what is discrete random variable? So discrete one is the countable discrete random variable. Discrete means countable and continuous means not countable. So again repeat, random variable, there are 2 types. One is the discrete random variable, another is the continuous random variable. Discrete random variable means the countable random variable. Okay, and continuous random variable is the uncountable. I am giving a simple example, then you can understand. If I say a coin is tossed 10 times, so definitely you can count out of 10 times how many heads or how many tails occurs. So obviously you can count the number of heads and you can as well as the number of tails. So this is called the countable finite case. Another, I am giving the answer of the countable finite case, countable infinite case, because there are 2 parts of countable. One is the countable finite and there is the countable infinite. So what is the meaning of countable finite? Means we can count, there is an end. Again repeat, what we can count, there is an end, that is called countable finite. And what is called countable infinite? We can count, but there is no end. I am telling you a simple example, number of mobile calls, number of death, number of birth. Every day you can count, but there is no end. So that is called the countable infinite case. So similarly, I am giving the example of the continuous random variable. Say, if I give the number as how many numbers in between 0 to 1. It's a very interesting number. 0 to 1, how many numbers present? So if I say no sir, after 0.1, I will say no 0.01. That means you can never count how many numbers in between 0 to 1. So that is called the infinite. So that's why there are 2 types of random variable. One is the discrete random variable, another is the continuous random variable. And since they are random variable, I have to know what is the pattern of that random variable. That is a very important pattern of the random variable. Because if we don't know the pattern of the random variable, we can never go for the data analysis. So doing the pattern of the random variable, or better to say pattern of the data set, we have to know what is the probability distribution. So that's why you need to know what is the concept of probability distribution. So probability distribution again divided into 2 parts. One is the discrete probability distribution, another is the continuous probability distribution. Okay. So for our basic courses, we will take some distribution like binomial and Poisson for the discrete distribution and normal for the continuous distribution. So these are basically coming later on. So after knowing the probability distribution in detail, mainly the properties and application, we have to know what is the concept of sampling. Sampling is very, very important, for our data analysis, basically for the primary data sets. So we have to know if we apply the random sampling, so we have to prove why it is random sampling. Then that means we have to know what is the definition of random sampling. And for the random sampling is totally based on probability distribution. Random sampling totally based on probability. And after knowing the sampling is a very, very big chapter. I'm not going in detail. Okay. And after knowing the concept of sampling, we have to know the concept of estimation. So what is estimation? Why it is important? Because already I told you that for the research, the main thing is the unbiasedness. Okay. Because that is, if you not favor of you That is, if it is unbiased, then you go for that. If it is not unbiased, stop it. Okay. So that is the basic concept of estimation. It gives the unbiased estimation. I'm giving in a very simple, try to give some simple example of the unbiasedness. Say, we know the sample mean, that is X bar. And what is our objective? We estimate the population mean with the help of sample mean. So if we can estimate the population mean with the taking the mean of sample mean, again repeat, if we can estimate the population mean with the help of mean of sample mean, that is called unbiasedness. So this is unbiased. Without unbiased, we cannot start, we could not start the concept of testing or hypothesis. So testing or hypothesis is basically based on estimation. Testing of hypothesis is basically based on sampling. Testing of hypothesis is basically based on probability distribution. Testing of hypothesis is basically based on random variable. So definitely it is a sequential process. So now I'm going to that introduction of SPSS. Not I'll start. So today I will give simple, because I know everyone knows SPSS. Because since I'm starting SPSS, I'll give a simple example of SPSS a little bit later. So this is the introduction of SPSS. I will show this part only for the today's class. There's the concept of different measures, concept of frequency distributions, descriptive measures, the online application processing, OLA is very, very interesting for the data mining case, and concept of stem and leaf and 5-number summary is very, very important, and concept of outlier. That this concept of outlier, actually I'll explain tomorrow's class. So this is the introduction of SPSS I'll give later on. So now I'm coming to the probability distribution already discussed. Okay, so this is basically, there are two types of probability distribution. One is a theoretical distribution. Another, you can say, the statistical distribution, or better to say sampling distribution. So that is, what is the statistical distribution means, which is based on sample. So probability distribution, we divide in two parts. One is again repeat theoretical distribution, another is the statistical distribution. And this is the theoretical distribution. Because in this distribution, we take the mean of a frequency distribution, which we obtain in the relation to a random variable by some mathematical model. So I'm not going in detail part. Basically, the theoretical distribution we'll discuss about basically for this concept, for this 5 days workshop, we'll discuss only the 3 distribution in detail. One is the normal distribution, another is the binomial distribution, another is the Poisson distribution. Because for everything, when we go for the logistic regression, there is a binomial will play. Okay, discriminant binomial will play. So naturally, and in case of multivariate analysis, for the predictor variable, for the independent variable, normal distribution will play. Okay, so obviously and naturally, Poisson distribution will go for when the binomial fails. Binomial fails. Obviously, in the 3rd class, I will explain what is the application of Poisson regression analysis. So that is the 3rd class today. I will explain. So that is called the Poisson regression. So that is the application of Poisson distribution, application of binomial distribution, and application of normal distribution. So that is a theoretical distribution. Now I come to the part. So these are the 3 theoretical distribution: binomial, Poisson, normal. And next, this is the for the any discrete distribution. Already I told you the binomial distribution is a discrete distribution. It is the countable finite. And this is for discrete distribution. There is a probability, and this is probability function is called the probability mass function. It is basically simply binomial theorem in class 11, 12 class. Okay, that is NCX p to the. I'm giving a very simple example of a binomial distribution a plus b whole square. A plus b whole square, a plus b whole cube, a plus b whole to the power 4. Better to say a plus b whole to the power n. That means a plus b, a and b are the 2 terms. And in one term, suppose a is replaced by p, that is the probability of success, and b is replaced by q, that is the probability of failure. So that is the p plus q whole to the power n, that is n trials, that is an experiment is repeated n times. That is basically binomial theorem. That means there are 2 terms. One is success, another is the number of trials. So number of trials is how many experiments is repeated. How many times the experiment is repeated, that is called the number of trials. And p is the power, so that's why the term is called p plus q whole to the power n. And naturally, if we want to get the R success, so that is the formula. Basically, simply a formula: NCR p to the power R q to the power n minus R. P is the probability of success, and q is the probability of failure. And since it's the probability distribution, it has some characteristics. So what are the characteristics? It has some mean, it has some standard deviation, it has some the variance, it has some skewness. Okay. So it has some kurtosis. So obviously, so there is some formula, mean equal to NP, standard deviation equal to square root of NP, and these are the formula. So now I'm going to the application of binomial distribution. So in any total logistic regression, we are using binomial distribution. Banking system, we are using binomial distribution. In case of our patient, suppose a patient suffers from malignant or benign, we are using the concept of binomial distribution. So naturally, there's so many applications of binomial distribution. We use them medical everywhere. There is a survival analysis in statistics is very important. Survive or die. In the COVID situation, we are using either recovery or die. So that is the case of binomial distribution. Okay. So now come to the part. This is the very, very important part of data analysis. So when you collect the data from, say, discrete data, so it's my request to all of you, you plot the data in the graph paper. And after plotting the data in the graph paper, you can take the concept, what is the nature, what is the pattern of the data set. Suppose I'm giving some simple pattern of this, say n equal to 10 and p equal to 0.2. From this data set, that is your sample size is 10 and probability success is the 20%. So just to check. And for the second case, n equal to 10 and p equal to 0.5. So from these three diagrams, you can tell something about the nature, about the pattern of the data. From the first data, where n equal to 10 and p equal to 0.2, basically it is the left skewed. Left skewed means maximum observations below mean. Maximum observation, not better to say below the mid value, better to the mid portion. In the second portion, it is one type of symmetrical nature. So that means binomial distribution is symmetry when p equal to 0.5. And in the third case, when p equal to 0.5, it is a right skewed distribution. So maximum points are more than the middle point. So this is the advantage of the graphical representation. So next part is, again, we have so many parts, n equal to 7, n equal to 25, n equal to 50, we are drawing some diagram, okay? So simply, these are the different applications. Mainly, we are clinical trial. We are really apply so many times of the patient condition improve or not. We are using the binomial distribution. Okay. Now come to the point Poisson distribution. It's a very, very important distribution. Again, I'm telling you, in statistics, there is some parent distribution. Parent distribution, the name is called the hypergeometric distribution. So in probability, there are some basic problem that are based on the box problem. There are two boxes, one box containing some red and this, red and black, other box containing some red and green, and some balls are drawn. This is basically concept of the hypergeometric distribution. And when you design hypergeometric distribution is a discrete distribution. So and binomial distribution is a limiting case of the hypergeometric distribution. And binomial is also discrete distribution. Poisson distribution is a limiting case of binomial distribution. So now you can tell me, sir, what is the meaning of a limiting distribution? The limiting distribution is nothing but when this is based on the parameters. So what are the parameters? Now in case of binomial, there are two parameters. One is n, that is the sample number of trials, and another is p, that is the probability of success. So naturally, when there are limiting distribution depending on the parameters, so what are the limiting distribution? So in case of binomial, I'm telling about the binomial to Poisson. So when the n tends to infinity, that is the sample size is very large, and p, that is the probability of success, that is very less, then binomial tends to Poisson. Similarly, under some condition, also binomial tends to normal. Just to check that from a discrete distribution, again we are forming one countable infinite discrete distribution, and from discrete distribution, again we are forming one continuous distribution like normal. So all normal is a limiting form of binomial, Poisson is a limiting form of binomial, but binomial is a limiting form of the hypergeometric distribution. Okay, so this is the Poisson distribution. Why it is very important? Because in case of binomial distribution, we calculate the probability of defective, probability of non-defective. It's the binary case. But in case of Poisson distribution, we can count the number of cases. Not only that, there is a very interesting example of Poisson distribution. It is related with also the time. Binomial distribution, there is no need of time. No connection of time. But in case of Poisson distribution, there is another connection of the time. There is arrival rate with time. So Poisson distribution can solve also the cross-sectional as well as the time series data. Okay. Now come to the part, another part, the Poisson distribution. This is the nature of the graph. Graph is very important. So for the different values of lambda, the different patterns are coming. Now come to the Poisson distribution application. Already I told you. So this is our most important part, that the normal distribution. And normal distribution is the, I'm telling you why normal is important. So today, actually, I will show you the small cases using SPSS on the basis of some t-distribution, on the basis of some t-distribution and chi-square distribution and F distribution. Today, I'll show you. So naturally, when I show you the and all are derived from normal distribution, and that's why the T, F, and chi-square are called the sampling distribution. So now, first of all, from normal we derive chi-square. From chi-square and normal we derive T, and from chi-square we derive F. Just to check, again repeat, this is very, very important. From normal distribution is the theoretical distribution. So better to say from the continuous, for continuous group, it is the parent distribution. So from normal distribution, we derive the chi-square distribution. From chi-square and normal, we derive the T distribution. And from chi-square, we derive F distribution. And there are so many applications I'm coming later on. So now come to the part normal distribution. You know that is the bell-shaped distribution. And this is called the bell-shaped normal to the standardized normal. And now come to the part, this is the bell curve. I'm not going in detail. Definitely have to explain so many times for the first 5 days class. And this is the application normal distribution. I have not written because throughout the 5 days, I will show the applications. Okay. Now this is a sampling distribution I already discussed because this is the time shortage. I give the PPT. This is the different sampling distribution. Sampling student chi-square F distribution. And this is the student's T PDF function. This is also continuous T distribution. It is also symmetrical distribution. And mainly we apply student distribution for the small sample size, preferably when sample size is less than 30. Okay. And this is the T distribution, different shape of the T distribution. And this is the T distribution for hypothesis. Today I will show you, we can using T distribution, we can test the single population mean, we can test for the difference of two population means, that is called independent sample, and difference of two population mean dependent sample. Now, this is the nature. Now, this is called single population mean story. Single population story is the, say, x1, x2 observation, x1, x2 dot xn, it's the independent. The assumption that population is normal with mean theta and variance sigma square, where theta and sigma square are unknown. So this is the assumptions. So problem H0 hypothesis theta equal to A against H1 theta greater than A. So this is our single population mean. And naturally, I'll start our testing process after giving the concept of testing of hypothesis, just to check the problem. Single population mean, this is the single sample problem. And this is the single sample problem is given. One problem is given, I have solved. And my dear student, today I'll give my PPT after the class. So it's my request to all of you, after the today's class, you will put in your SPSS, and you solve the t-test. Okay, because everything is in the data set is given. You put the data in SPSS. Then easily you can understand SPSS is very simple, very user friendly. Okay, so that's why I have given the data set, single sample problem. And similarly, single sample solution also I have given. Okay, and independent sample t-test I have explained. And this is the data set is given. You put in the SPSS. And this is the paired t-test data set is given. Put in the SPSS. Today I will show you SPSS from my data set. And this is your data set. From my data set, I will show you SPSS, and this is your data set for your, practice purpose. Okay. So this is your chi-square test. Chi-square is this is a standardized sum of square of standardized normal variate. Okay. I'm not going in detail. And this is the last part of distribution. There's the ratio of two chi-square. This is the PDF, CDF, mean, mode, and variance is given. Now come to the part. This is my today's class. Actually, hello.
Sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, I like to show some another slide.
Yes, sir, you can close this slide and you can start new slide by stop sharing.
Stop sharing. I understand. Now you understand. So now I'll start the testing of hypothesis. This is the most important for any kind of research. So testing of what is hypothesis? Just I'll go through. You will understand very simple thing. A hypothesis is an assumption about the population parameter. So I can say it is nothing but a conjecture. It is nothing but a statement. Okay, a hypothesis. So a parameter is a characteristic of the population, like its mean or variance. The parameter must be identified before analysis. So testing a hypothesis assumption about the population parameter, say population mean, which is to be tested. So first, for that we collect sample data. Then we calculate sample statistics, say sample mean, and then use this information to judge or decide whether hypothesized value of population parameter is correct or not. So that is called testing of a hypothesis. So to test the validity of the assumed or hypothetical value of the population, we gather sample data. We gather sample data because already the hypothetical assumption is given. And for testing hypothetical, which is based on the population parameter, we gather sample data and determine the difference between hypothesized value and the actual value of the sample. Because hypothesized value is the population value, parameter value. And when you collect the sample, that's called actual sample value. Okay. So that's the sample. So we find the difference and naturally judge whether the difference is significant or not. And definitely the smaller the difference, the greater the likelihood. Likelihood means acceptance is more. Okay. And that is a likelihood that our hypothesis value for the mean is correct. And the larger the difference, definitely smaller the likelihood. Okay. So in hypothesis testing, the first step is to state the assumed hypothesis numerical value of the population. So when you test, we have to give some numerical value. Okay. The assumption we want to test is called the null hypothesis. So what is the speciality of the null hypothesis? It is a completely specified the population parameter. Suppose if it is denoted by H0, if we give H0 mu equal to 5, that is we know the perfect value of mu equal to 5. So that is a completely specification of the population parameter. That is called the null hypothesis. So this is the statement of the null hypothesis. The average weight of the semesters to student, MBA student is 50. Yeah.
Sir, আপনার কোনো স্ক্রিন দেখা যাচ্ছে না. Would you like to share?
Screen is not visible, sir.
Okay. Okay. Not again. I have to share now.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Sorry. Is it clear?
Yes, sir. Now it's visible.
Now it is visible clearly. Huh?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Can I start from the begin or from this position?
From here you can start, sir.
From here, thank you. So here the null hypothesis state the assumption that that is the average weight of the 2 semesters student. That is the average weight means mu equal to 58, and begin with the assumption that the null hypothesis is the true or false. True or false. Okay, is it visible? Hello?
Yes, sir. Yes,
Sir,
sir.
yes, sir.
Thank you. So begin with the assumption that the null hypothesis is true or false. So this is our H0. And so average, and this is our alternative. The average weight of the student is not equal to 58 kg. So we are using here both sided cases. I am alternative hypothesis. So the procedure for hypothesis, so what steps we will follow? The first step one is the set of a hypothesis. Okay. As the set of hypothesis depending on your problem. What is the step 2? Now set up a suitable significance level. So basically we are taking as a thumb rule, basic rule, 5% level of significance. That means the confidence with which an experimenter reject or accept the null hypothesis, depending on the significance level adopted. So level of significance is the rejection region, and which is outside the confidence or acceptance region. The level of significance is usually denoted by alpha. Okay, you know it very well. So this is the setting of a significance level. What is the meaning of this? So any level of significance can be adapted. In practice, we either take 5% or 1% level of. That is, when you take 5% level of significance, then there are about 5 chances out of 100 we would reject the null hypothesis. And in other words, out of 100, 95% chances are there that the null hypothesis will be accepted. So that is, we are about 95% confident that we have made the right decision. So that is the setting a significance level. So now this is our graphical concept. Say if we go for the both sided, so naturally our critical region or level of rejection or level of significance lies in the both sides. So that's why region, rejection region, and acceptance region in the middle. Okay. So that is, if our sample statistics calculated value fall in the non-setted region, that is called acceptance region, then it is simply means that there is no evidence to reject the null hypothesis, naturally. And it proves that null hypothesis H0 is true, H0 is true, otherwise H is rejected. So this is our step 2. Step 3 is the determination of suitable state statistics on the basis of a domain objective. So for example, we can use the T, chi-square, and F statistics for the 2 days class. For the tomorrow's class, definitely our state statistics will be changing on the basis of multivariate analysis and determine the critical value from the table. So after doing computation, I check the sample results. So compare this is very important, compare the calculated value which you get from the state statistics with the value obtained from the table, tabulated or critical value. As step 6, making decision. The making decision means either accepting or rejecting the null hypothesis. What is the meaning of making decision? Either accepting or rejecting the null hypothesis. So if the computed value, that is, you can take the absolute value, is more than the tabulated or critical value, so that falls in the critical region. And in that case, reject null hypothesis, otherwise accept. Okay. So this is we know this is a very, very important part, type 1 error and type 2 error. So when a statistical hypothesis is tested, there are 4 possible results. Number 1, the hypothesis is true, that is the population parameter estimate is true, but our test accepted. Hypothesis is true, but our test accepted is the correct decision. Second is the hypothesis is false. Hypothesis is false, but our test reject, it is also correct decision. But your hypothesis is true, but our test rejected, this is the wrong decision. Hypothesis is true, but we reject hypothesis, wrong decision. Our hypothesis is false, we accept it, that is also wrong decision. So obviously, that is when in case of probability, we are probability rejecting the good lot. Okay, so probability of rejecting the good lot, it is one error, and probability of accepting the bad lot, this is also error. So obviously, the last 2 possibilities lead to the errors. So rejecting the null hypothesis when it is true is a very, very dangerous. Rejecting a null hypothesis when it is a true, called a type 1 error. And accepting a null hypothesis when it is false is called the type 2 error. Because why it is dangerous error? Because mainly the null hypothesis is constructed from the manufacturer point of view, from the producer point of view. So naturally, if we reject a null hypothesis, so huge loss for the producer or the manufacturer. And we are creating our alternative hypothesis from the customer or the consumer point of view. So that's why we are accepting a bad lot, maybe loss, but that's why it is not so dangerous like the type 1 error. So that's why it is called the type 2 error. And that is the consumer errors risk. One is the producer risk, another is the consumer risk. Another thing is that this is a very common, everyone knows that the courtroom trial. Now in the courtroom, a defendant is considered not guilty. And as long as his guilty is not proven, the prosecutor tries to prove the guilt of the defendant. So only when there is enough charging evidence the defendant is condemned. In the start of the procedure, there are 2 hypotheses. What is hypothesis? H0, the defendant is not guilty, and H1, the defendant is guilty. Okay, the first one is called the null hypothesis, and the second one is called the alternative hypothesis. So this is our structure of this. Just to check this is a bivariate table. So accept null hypothesis, and null hypothesis H0 is true. That is the right decision. H0, that is that the defendant H0 is not guilty, and we are accepting that is the null hypothesis, the right decision. And this is alternative hypothesis. That is, the H1 is he is guilty, but we are rejecting. Wrong decision, type 2 error. and reject a hypothesis is wrong decision. He is not guilty, but already the punishment is there. That is the type 1 error. It is very, very dangerous. And similarly, he is not guilty. Naturally, no question of accepting giving the punishment. So that is the right decision. So this is a very, very interesting part. So there are a diagonal part of the correct decision and off diagonal part of the wrong decision. So out of this type 1 error and type 2 error, again I am telling you, type 1 error is the more dangerous than type 2 error. And that is in our research, definitely I will show you later on. In the research, this is a trade-off is going between type 1 error and type 2 error, how to minimize or how to optimize both the type 1 and type 2 error. Okay. So this is the one tail and two test, you know this thing. And these are the different figures. This is the left tail test, this is the right tail test, and this is the both tail test. And this is the summary of the one tail and two tail test. So when you go for one tail test, this is the test statistics. One is the two tail test. This is the alternate hypothesis alternative, and one right tail test. Okay, and this is the very important part. The following table gives the critical values of Z normal table for both one tail and two tail test. If we take the 10% level of significance, that is, you know, the critical value of Z for this. Okay, one is the minus and plus. Obviously, you know the thing, left tail and right tail. Similarly, for both sided case, there is 1.645. Obviously, both side level acceptance is more than the one side acceptance level. Okay. Similarly, 5% value, 5% both sided, 1% value, one side both sided. Okay. So now this is this part. So I'm going to share my last part. Then I go for the case study. Really, the problem is this. Hang on. Is it visible to all of you?
No, sir, the screen is not visible.
Screen has been closed. Actually, share is not coming. I don't know why.
So what is it?
What is actually I want to share this concept of scaling. This is the most important.
It is PPT. So it is PPT or PDF.
This is a PPT.
So PPT will be shared. You just open the PPT first.
Okay, open the PPT
and
first.
After that you share.
Okay, open the.
It should be opened previously in your laptop or desktop. After that only you can see the sharing options.
Okay. Now it is visible.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir, it is coming.
Thank you. So now this is very interesting part actually. The concept of scaling and supervised data and unsupervised data analysis. I'm telling you, for the first 2 days, first 3 days, that is today, tomorrow, and on 16th class, basically based on supervised data set. Supervised data set means when we know the dependent variable and when we know the independent variable parameter. That is the supervised data set. And my 4th class based on the unsupervised data set. Okay. And 5th class to some extent supervised and to some extent unsupervised. Okay. So this is the meaning of, that's why this is the title of this concept of scaling. And what is scaling? I'm giving, this is my univariate techniques. Yeah, you know, in our unit there are two types. One is the non-parametric statistics and another is the parametric statistics. For the non-parametric statistics, definitely this is not included in our thing, but this is under the research in our, what is the one sample and 2 or more samples. Under one sample, these are methodology, these are techniques, and 2 or more samples, these are the techniques, minimum techniques. Similarly, for the parametric samples, 1 sample or 2 sample. Similarly, independent sample, and actually this part is not visible. Hello. Now, thank you. Now it is visible to all of you. Hello.
It is visible, sir. It is visible.
Just you think the non-parametric statistics, there is the one sample, two more sample, this is the independent and dependent. For one sample, these are the non-parametric test. For the two samples, these are the non-parametric test. No need to mention, I will give them my PPT. And this is the parametric statistics, one sample, two sample. One sample t-test, jet test, and to independent, we are using these, and two sample also using this. Okay. So now, multivariate techniques, which is we start from tomorrow class. That is the dependent techniques and interdependence technique. So dependence techniques, for one dependent technique, we go for ANOVA, multiple regression, conjoint analysis. Actually, conjoint analysis will not cover. Multiple dependent ANOVA will not cover canonical correlation, but we will cover logistic and discriminant. And interdependence, we have covered the the factor analysis. And focus-based objects, we cover only the multi-dimension. So this is our syllabus for this total research methodology workshop. Okay. And naturally, what is the different statistical method and level of this is very, very important part. Already we discussed, there are three types of measurement scale: nominal, ordinal, interval. Okay. And nominal, ordinal, these are called categorical data. And interval is the non-categorical data. So in some case, nominal, ordinal called the metric and non-metric data, and interval is called the metric data. So, so naturally, when you consider some dependent and independent variable, so first of all, you have to check what is the measurement scale for the dependent variable, and on the basis of that, we go for the method selection. So if my dependent variable is nominal and independent variable is nominal, then we go for chi-square. Okay, because in case of chi-square, we are using that attributes, both are nominal. Similarly, if my dependent variable is nominal and independent is that is called the Goldminer case. Okay, that is not discussed in my 5 days class. So similarly, nominal and interval, we go for the discriminant and logistic equation. Okay. Similarly, for ordinal, dependent, and independent nominal, we go for the different types of non-parametric test and ordinal. And so these are the differences you understand most probably. So now, go for this is the very, very important part of scale measurements. Already we told in my beginning of the research class, I discussed scale of measurement in detail. So there are 4 types of scale: nominal, ordinal, interval, and ratio. So for the nominal, we apply some permutation groups, and basically applicable for mode calculation. And what is the example? Numbering of the football players, roll number in the class, assignment of the type or the model numbers to the classes. Ordinal, isotonic, y equal to fx means strictly increasing function, ordinal. So we apply the median, percentile, order correlation, sign test. So naturally, how we, this is an example, hardness of the minerals, quality of the leather. So naturally, example is the Likert scale, ranking list. Okay. Interval scale, that is the general, the linear group. We know the equation of a straight line equal to y equal to a plus bx, where b is the positive, that is mean, average deviation, standard deviation. These are all under the interval scale. And using the temperature, Fahrenheit scale, centigrade, energy, and different types of things. These are the examples. And now come to the ratio scale, which is very, very important. The equation is like the form y equal to cx, passing through the origin. C greater than 0, that is the geometric mean, harmonic mean coefficient of variation, where there is a real ratio, okay, ratio, and length and weight, density, resistance. Naturally, in case of geometric mean, is a very interesting application. If one of the observation is 0, so definitely geometric mean is not valid. In case of also harmonic mean, because it is the reciprocal of the arithmetic mean of the reciprocal of the observation. So this is a very, very important part, ratio. But in case of our data analysis part within the different softwares, so we go for only nominal, ordinal, both are categorical. Nominal is the categorical unordered, ordinal is the categorical ordered, and only interval and ratio we can combinedly give the name of scale. So that's why we apply the 3 scale measurement. One is the nominal scale, ordinal scale, and the scale. So now I come to the part, this is the case study for you. You will solve. Already I've given the problem to chi-square study. So today, after this part, I will show the SPSS. I think you are worried about showing the SPSS, I know. So just this is for you, case study on chi-square test. And this is the problem is given. And this is your data set is given, you put into SPSS after my class. Okay. This is today's work, and this is called bivariate analysis. Bivariate analysis, independent variable, metric regression. Tomorrow I will start. Metric, non-metric, third day I will start. This is the non-metric, metric. Now we will show you some example, and cross-step show you some example. So this is our total 5 days class. Okay. And this is the definitely, I am sorry, this is the bivariate as well as the some multivariate analysis. Better to write, you can change bivariate as well as the multivariate. Okay. And this is the example for not today's class, for the third day class. You have to solve. And this is for tomorrow's class. And this is for today's class. Okay. So today's class, this is assignment. Because if we put the assignment in SPSS, I can give you the guarantee. You have the idea how to data entry part will be clear. I can give you the guarantee. Okay. So this is very, very important for data entry part. So after this, I take some questions through chat box for 5 minutes, and after then I will show you SPSS. Hello.
Yes, sir.
Any question? Any question? Just you give me the, maybe if it is possible today I'll answer the question. Otherwise, tomorrow I'll start the class before 15 minutes. Then I'll give that.
Sir, there are a few questions in the chat box. Would you like to look at them?
Okay. Just 5 minutes or 6 minutes, because you know, I have to show the SPSS so many case studies.
Yes. Shurjani Dev is asking, I use GraphPad Prism most of the time. Is this a reliable software?
Okay, madam rightly said why it is reliable. I'm telling you, because this is a stat curve basically, saved in the server. Okay, saved in the server. No need to download the package in your laptop. This is the number one advantage. Number two advantage is the backend RStudio is working. And it is, and not only that, using StatCurve, you can solve so many machine learning as well as time series, as well as any kind of multivariate and bivariate analysis. Okay, so this is a very, very important. But another one type of disadvantage, not disadvantage. So this is basically this, since it is stored in server. So mainly this software purchased by the university or the colleges or the offices or the corporate. And I'm giving simple concept of this. It is less cost to SPSS. For the 30 users, the cost is 3,50,000 with tax. Less cost. So it is not the free software like RStudio, but SPSS cost is more than StatCorp. But StatCorp is a wide application. Wide application. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Well, there is a question from an anonymous attendee. I don't know why the name is not featuring. What do standard deviation and variance separately interpret?
Standard
deviation and variance, what do they
actually
separately
standard deviation, I'm giving a simple example. Suppose x1, x2, x3 are the variables. Okay, x1, x2, x3 are the variable, and x1 having some unit in centimeter, x2 having some unit in centimeter, say meter, and x3 having unit in say kg. So if we calculate the variance, so it will be the square centimeter, because variance is the square. And if you take the square root, we get the standard deviation. So then the units are matched. That's why standard deviation we use. Very good question.
There's one question from Dr. Jaya Bandyopadhyay. What if we do not know SPSS?
Huh?
What if we do not know SPSS?
You do not know SPSS?
Yes, what if we do not know SPSS? Then what?
Oh, if you do not know SPSS, actually, ma'am, thank you for my, after this, when I start SPSS, so I can give you the guarantee from tomorrow or today, not tomorrow, after my class, you start to SPSS to solve your assignment. Because SPSS is so user-friendly, anyone can do that. Anyone can, just please wait, give some time. Then.
Okay. Okay, Dr. Chobita Shah is asking from where to download SPSS software.
Okay, that will be cleared. My two students, Dr. Bonni Guho and Shayan Gupta, after my finishing the class. Madam, wait.
Okay. Shudip Todikari is asking, secondary data is sufficient for any management research topic. Is this right?
Is it again? Repeat the question.
Secondary data, is it sufficient for any management research topic?
This is the answer. First of all, I will give the answer is no. Second answer is the domain specific, your objective of your study. Okay, but I am giving the answer. If it based on secondary research, it is very simple. But if it is the primary research, it is really difficult, because in the primary research there are so many validation techniques. But naturally, some research based on secondary. Some basically based on the finance, some research based on secondary. In the maximum research in the behavioral finance, marketing and HR based on the primary data.
Right, sir. Dr. Arun Upadhyay is asking, can we currently proceed with analysis through SPSS or RStudio?
No, actually we will show here SPSS, not RStudio. For this 5-day session, we will show only SPSS and Jamovi, no RStudio.
Okay. Rudra Abhishek Singh is asking, sir, can you recommend any book on questionnaire construction?
Definitely, I will recommend the book after my last day class. After
Okay,
my last day class, definitely there are so many books on questionnaire, which is very, very important. Maybe tomorrow I will refer the book. No more, don't mind. I'll refer the book, definitely.
Sir, these are the few questions that were there.
Okay, thank you.
There are no more questions
all
now.
participants. Okay, thank you all. So can I start SPSS now? Yeah.
Yes, sir. Oh, sir, just 1 minute. There's one participant who wants to be unmuted so he can ask a question.
Okay.
Prem, can you unmute Rupam Mukherjee?
Yeah.
Rupam, please unmute yourself.
And Rupam.
Hello.
Yeah, Rupam. Thank you.
Hello. Am I audible?
Yes.
You are audible.
Okay. Sir, I have just one question, a quick question, that now at this time of pandemic, in case of collecting data, primary data, most of the cases we are actually going through in terms of Google Forms. We are preparing the questionnaire and we are sending the Google Forms to the participants, and we are getting the data from them. Now, sir, if in any social science research, we are collecting data in terms of this Google form, there are two problems can occur. Firstly, I cannot do the random sampling method in that way, because I'm just getting the responses on the basis of the people who are actually giving responses. And how to check the validity and reliability of those responses. So these are
okay. Thank you, Rupam.
Technique is okay, and how to.
Thank you for your question. First of all, due to this pandemic situation, there is no way of collecting the data physically. This is the number one. Okay. And number two is that when you go for online collection, so this is my not request. This is the process of collecting. Number of sample size is more. So there is a rule, minimum sample for the primary data, minimum 400. That is the rule basically. Okay. And there are so many rules also. So, but when you go for online collection, at least you collect the 1,000 data set. Okay. Question is why? If we go for the 1,000 and more than 1,000 data sets, so there are so many repetition will be there. So easily you can delete the repetition part using some methodology. Okay. And after deleting some repetition parts, so then you can think of it, you go for so many testing, reliability, chi-square, validity, so you can check your data set is relevant or not for your analysis. Okay.
Exactly.
Okay, and naturally, not only that, first of all, if you go for online, so first of all, you go for the pilot survey through online.
Yes.
After pilot survey, then you go for another pilot survey because you are going for online. Okay, and pilot survey, you take only the 50 samples.
Okay.
So then through pilot survey, you can modify your questionnaire.
Okay, sir. Now, sir, if I am collecting data for the entire state, suppose I am doing research on the entire state, then this 1,000 sample data size
minimum, since you are going through online.
Yes.
Because naturally, online sample is not possible to collect the randomly. It is real question, real answer.
Yes.
Not possible. So better go for the high, use some number of samples more.
Okay, sir. And will you, sir, show us the validity and reliability test of this?
I will show the validity and reliability in the 4th class.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
So there are a couple of more questions. Dr. Pradipta Gangopadhyay wants to know, when downloading Jamovi from internet, is there any special configuration of the system required?
Actually, again, I'm telling you, after my finishing the class, my have the two students, Dr. Bondigo and Sayan Gupta, will make it total clear, total clear. Please wait, please wait.
Question before we move on from Sucharita Devnath. She is asking, which survey method, online or field, is more valid in case of research in the coming days?
Better to the answer is the both.
Okay, so that's all. So we can proceed
Okay.
to the next section.
Okay, thank you. Hello, can I again? There is a problem.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Actually, I want to show the SPSS already everything I opened, but it is not visible. In my case, it is visible.
So you just select the application that shows your SPSS.
SPSS, yeah. I am showing SPSS.
Yes, sir.
SPSS, I have the file already open.
Yes, sir. Now you just click on the share screen option and just click the application which shows SPSS
Okay,
interface.
just share screen and the application.
Yes, sir. Application that shows the SPSS interface, sir. Is the SPSS window is available in the screen share application, sir?
So all window Zoom first untitled.
So if you have opened many application, you can close.
Okay, okay, that is okay. That is I have opened.
Yes, sir, it will confuse, sir. Yes.
That is the
The
confusion.
things that you have completed, sir, you can close them.
So many applications I have opened, right? Right.
Yes, sir. That's why it is unable to.
That's why it is not coming. Okay, I understand. Just wait, I'm showing. Hello.
Yes, sir. Sir, if still many application is there, it is not problem. You just share the screen. You click on the share screen option, and then, sir, there is a last application window showing that you want to show more windows. You can click on that, sir. Just above the share button of the share screen.
Okay, okay, I'm coming. Actually, that share button is not coming actually.
So have you
One thing,
have you
sir. First, sir, open the SPSS screen.
Open the SPSS screen. Open the SPSS screen.
Yes. Now, just open the just Zoom window.
No,
Where
Zoom window
you
is
have.
not coming actually. That is the problem.
Oh.
That is not the problem. Zoom window is not coming.
Okay, you are within the Zoom because.
say in
We
the
are
bottom
seeing.
screen, so there is taskbar.
That is a tax bar. I know because there is the Zoom window is not coming actually. Okay, Zoom window has come now.
Yeah.
Yes, sir, yes.
So now click on that and share.
Okay, but this is.
Click on that, then sir share as before.
Share. Now it is. Now it is opening most probably.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, so now I'll start SPSS. I think you realize you're waiting for this. I know.
Yes, it is showing, sir.
Okay. So just to
Tables
check
and rows.
SPSS, SPSS, there are, this is basically a, it looks like Excel sheet. Okay. And SPSS divided into 5 parts. So one is the variable view. One is the second part is the data view. Third part is the output view, from where we get the analysis. Fourth part is the draft view. And last part is the syntax view. So there are 5 parts of SPSS. So this is my variable. This is a variable. So I have the 5 variable. Initially it is given 6. So 5 variable. So roll number, subject 1, subject 2, subject 3, gender. Okay. So this is the name. And naturally for any variable there is a data type. So we are taking roll number as a numeric, subject 1 is a numeric, subject 2 as a numeric, and gender as a numeric. And for roll number, there are in the class, suppose I have taken only 15 students. Okay. So definitely the roll number is with this the 2, decimal is 0 because no fraction roll number. And for the documentation of the roll number, that is called the level column. Level column used for the documentation of the name column. Okay. And we take the 3 subjects. So instead of 3 subjects, first we take the subject 1, that is the mathematics, subject 2 is the statistics, subject 3 is the operation research. And the class is composed of, the gender, that is the male and female students. And total marks, actually, the 15 student has given the examination in 3 subjects, and total marks is 100. Okay. And obviously, subject 1, that is also numeric, there is a no integer part. And there is a chance a student can get 100 out of 100. So that's why with these 3. Okay. Similarly, for the subject 2, subject. And gender, class is composed of male and female students. So for given, because we know the gender is a categorical variable. So for categorical variable, we have to give some code. Say here, we have to put male equal to 1 and female equal to 2. This is very, very useful when you go for the primary data. So that's why I will show this thing from the beginning. First of all, remove this and remove this because value level is very important. That is the 6th column. So naturally, remove this. So there is 2 things. One is the value and this is the level. So value means magnitude and level means character. So if we put value equal to 1 and level equal to male, so that means, 1 equal to adding. Again, we have to put value equal to 2 and level equal to female, so we can easily add it. And that is okay. So in this way, we can complete my values columns. Okay. So similarly, for some questions, we have some 5 scale, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That is the Likert scale. So where you will put in SPSS, here you will. So you have to some question number 1, say 5 scale, question number 2, 5 scale. So you have to this 1 equal to say bad, poor, very poor, average, good, and so on. So this is our a simple thing. So initially, you have to know the first column clearly. There is how many questions in your questionnaire. Okay. And always you try to remember when you fill this SPSS, the value variable view, don't give the long name. This is for always you try to type the short name, right? Roll number, subject 1, subject 2. So there's a short name, and you would have to specify, or better to say, you have to documentation will be given in the level column. So roll number documentation, the roll number of the say MAKAUT some university, colleges. Say subject mathematics, okay, statistics. So this is the rule for this. So in your primary data, you like given question 1, question 2, question 3, and so on. And then you give the documentation part under the question 1. What is the meaning of question 1? You write here. What is the meaning of question 2? Write. So this is the very, very important part for the variable. So after coming to the variable view, go to the data view. So this is the data view. So I have taken 15 students. So that is the 15 roll numbers. I have taken, these are the different marks of the mathematics. These are the marks of the statistics. And these are the marks of the operational research. And we know the class is composed of the gender. So obviously this is the changing mode. Just to check, we have written male equal to 1 and female equal to so. So this is called the by default switch. This is called the toggle switch, which can change from value to level or level to value. Is it clear? So this is the data insertion. So, so that's why variable view is clear and data view is clear. So variable view will come in from your questionnaire design. And basically maximum researcher, so they are collecting their data in the Excel sheet. So naturally you can easily import the data from Excel to SPSS. So, so naturally those are using some any kind of software, so they can import from any files from SPSS, from anywhere, Excel, you can import from other software also. So this advantage you will get in SPSS in other software also. Okay. So that's why this is the data view and the variable view part. Now I'll come to the part, I'm showing some simple calculation, how we calculate the average part of this thing. Simple calculation. Then I'll go for the statistical part. So compute variable. So I like to calculate the average AVG. So we type, there is a target variable. And now in case of numeric expression, so we know the average means the sum of three variables. Average of three numbers means say x1, x2, x3. So x1 plus x2 plus x3 divided by 3. This is basically average. So what we'll do, we select subject 1 and this is the calculator, inbuilt calculator in SPSS, or you can apply from laptop also subject 1 plus. Similarly subject 2, this also plus, and subject 3 from this plus and bracket closed, and naturally divide by 3. So that is the mean, because x1 plus x2 plus x3, and just click OK, and that we can get the mean. And naturally if we go to the SPSS just to check, this is the mean average. So in this way we can calculate so many things. I am showing a simple example. Then I am trying to compare what is the comparison between the male and female students. Okay, the comparison purpose. So comparison purpose, we go for there is we want to generate a report of the marks generated by the male and female. So we have to take the help of OLAP cubes. OLAP basically a data mining tool, and that is called online analytical process data mining tool. Very, very useful for data analysis. So go to OLAPs, and after going to OLAPs, so in case of OLAP, there are two variables. So this is called left panel, and these are called the right panel. Okay, and in the left panel, all of the this is called the master file, and right panel are called the transaction file. What is the meaning that in the right panel divided into two variables? One is the summary variable.
Sir, your voice is coming very sir, your voice is coming very distorted.
Okay, my voice is now it is clear.
Sir, can you please repeat?
Okay,
yeah,
now
it's better now. Can you please repeat what you just said?
Okay,
it is not very clear even now, sir.
Okay. Now it is clear.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
So just I am starting from the beginning. So first of all, up to this, most probably, okay. First of all, we go start from the beginning, because I believe in phi to the power n. So first of all, this is the roll number, subject 1, subject 2, subject 3, and gender. These are the 5 variables. So initially, I have taken the documentation part, and then I have given the values level for the gender, because gender is the categorical value, categorical variable. And subject
screen is not coming, sir.
Hello?
So the screen is not coming.
Oh, screen is not coming. Okay.
Sir, hello, sir. You just, sir, browse your click, mouse. Let us see whether, yes, it is working, sir. Sujit, sir, I think your some internet connectivity is slow.
Because this can be visible to our.
Hello, you ask the participants they are okay or not?
Yes, sir. It is coming, sir. Manas, sir, it is coming now.
Yes. Quite clear.
There is some network
visible,
delay.
Most probably network issue.
As the participants are also said this is visible and audible.
Okay, that means I can continue.
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Probably yes, sir.
So can I continue?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so now this is about the variable view. So now we go into the data view. So already the main part is the
screen Ashchana, sir.
Sujit, sir.
Screen is not coming, sir. Screen.
Sujit, sir. Sir, I think there is some network issue with your internet connectivity, sir. Because everything is visible from our end and the audience end. say if possible, sir, kindly relog in, sir.
So that will be the best.
Is it 1 sir? Right now?
Yes, that will be the best. You just log out and log in again.
So if you say yes, then I'll start.
Sir, it is audible and visible also.
Shobita Madam is also called saying that screen is coming. Yes,
Say,
audible and visible, both are audible.
so you can continue, sir.
I can continue. Huh?
Yes, sir, you can continue.
So actually, so there are already you understand how the average has come. Okay. So now we're going for the data mining tool that is called OLAP. So OLAP basically used for generating reports. Okay. So that means we can compare between the different categorical variables. So in this way, in this problem, we have taken only one categorical variable, that is gender. So through OLAP cubes, we can compare how many, what is the average marks obtained by the male in statistics, what is the average mark obtained by the female in statistics. So in this, so many types of comparison we can use by OLAP cubes. So just select OLAP. So in case of OLAP, this is called, there are three panels. This is the left panel and these are the two right panels. And in the left panel, all the variables are called the master variable. And right panels are called the transaction variable, which we need for our analysis. Okay. So what I'll do first. So right panel basically divided into the summary variables and grouping variables. Summary variable basically based on scale variable and grouping variable based on categorical variable. So first of all, I have to check in my problem how many, the grouping summary variable. So gender, a grouping variable is the gender. So we select gender under grouping variable. And we select mathematics, statistics, and operation research under summary variable because these are the scale variable. Okay. So we go for click OK for getting output. So this is the output. It is output. Just to check, in case of SPSS output, we check some coding, and this coding is called Python language. That means the SPSS backend is the Python. So already one of my faculty told this, he is using the StatCap. StatCap backend is the RStudio. Okay. So similarly, Jamovi backend is the RStudio. So but SPSS backend is the Python. So the Python is if we rank with different softwares, so Python is the number one. Okay, there's so many applications. I'm not going in detail part. So that's why SPSS is so user friendly, so strong packages. But some limitation I'll discuss. So that is after OLAP cube, this is we'll get called the case processing summary. So what is case processing summary? Now from this case processing summary, we can understand how many observations are present and how many observations are absent or not present. Okay, there is the missing. So naturally from this all 15 observations present included and these are absent. So this from the case processing summary. Now come to the OLAP.
Hello, sir. Sir, is there any output, sir?
This output is, I am explaining output. This is not
output
coming.
Is not visible, sir. I think it is in different window.
Actually, this is the problem of Jamo, the Zooms. Actually, it is not problem in that anywhere. Google I am using so many times. Only problem I am facing in the the Zoom software. So again, I have to show from the start. This is the real problem because, okay, continuation problem. Okay, no problem. Okay. Now it is visible output.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Okay. So just to check, this is very, very interesting OLAP cubes. First of all, this is a case processing summary. That is how many observations are present and how many observations are absent. That is the missing. So for this analysis, all are present. So no question of missing data. Now come to the OLAP parts. So OLAP, just to check, initially at the starting part here, gender is total. Total means all 15 observations. And this is the summation of all 15 student marks in mathematics, statistics, and operations. This is the mean of all 15 students. average marks. These are standard deviations, okay? But I need the report gender wise. So I need to show what is the average marks obtained by only female and what is the average marks obtained in mathematics only by female. So what I'll do, just I click the output. Click the output, and any place of the output, you click the mouse twice. You click the mouse twice, so then this toggle switch will come. Then toggle switches come, and if we put this male, automatically the values will change. That is, we can observe that, okay, in my data set, only there are 8 males, there are total means, and there are total standardization, and so many things we can include. That is another aspect. Okay, similarly, we can add female, so these are the female observations. So what is the advantage of data mining tool? Because SPSS, so here we consider only a single categorical value variable, that is gender, only a single categorical variable. But SPSS supports 11 dimension categorical variable. Try to understand. Here only one categorical variable having two levels, that is male and female. So in the SPSS, in this way you can consider 11 categorical variable with the different levels. So there are so many types of reports we can generate through OLAP, and it is a very, very useful for your demographic profile analysis in case of primary data. Okay. So now I want to show again I have to stop Shanna for showing another thing.
Yes, sir.
Okay, I understand. So again I am to showing other thing. So you open a data that is GB2. GB2. First of all, you tell me it is visible or not.
Yes, sir. Coming, sir. Sir, but not fully visible right now.
But not data set is not visible.
No, sir. Yes, sir. Coming, sir. Coming. It is coming.
Now this data set, no, now this data set is visible.
Sir, I think it is loading. It is not coming now.
Not coming now. Okay. Okay, I understand. Now it is visible.
No, sir. Top left side, only one icon is coming, sir. Small icon only. Just.
Small icon is coming.
Yes, sir. Now it is showing, sir, some
value, but I want to maximize it.
So you just hover the mouse. Yes, sir, it is coming now.
Oh, it is coming. Thank you.
Now, sir, it has come.
No, it has come, but statistics.
Yes, sir, leftmost column is not coming. Yeah, now it is.
Now it is coming. Huh?
Yes, sir. Fully divisible.
Fully visible. Thank you. So just to check, this is visible. Actually, this is a very small case. Actually, today, since the time is a constant, otherwise I can show the story of the case. That is also stored. I'm telling just to try to understand. So there are, why t-test is important? There are two groups of people. So in the one group, there are total 10 members, and the other group, there are 10 members. So we are performing a test on blood pressure level. This is the blood pressure levels. Blood pressure measurement for the group 1 after imposing some old drugs. So we are imposing some old drugs on the group 1 patients. So these are the blood pressure measurements, 91, 96 blood pressure measurement. I am giving the higher blood pressure, not the lower. Okay, but better you can say lower also, no problem. and imposing the new drug. So this is the blood pressure level. So what is our objective? Objective is there any significant difference? Again, I'm repeating. Is there any significant difference about their between their blood pressure level, or with respect to the old? Is there any of the old after imposing the old drug and new drug? Suppose after imposing the old drug, this is the blood pressure level. Or after imposing the new drug, this is the blood pressure level. So naturally, if we compute the average, we can easily compute the average of blood pressure level for the first group. Similarly, you can easily compute the average of the blood pressure measurement for the second group. So this is called the based on average. We are calculating based on the sample values. But we want to test hypothetical assumption. We can to test that will give the population parameter. So naturally, from the this 10 observation, we can calculate x1 bar. That is the sample mean of the blood pressure measurement for the first group. Similarly, for this, we can calculate the sample mean for the second group. So that means this is called sample mean x1 bar, and that is called x2 bar. Now we want to test the hypothetical assumption that x1, h0, mu1 equal to mu2 or not, because mu1 is the population mean of the first group, and mu2 is the population mean of the second group. So we have to set some hypothesis. Hypothesis that is h0 mu1 equal to mu2 against h1 mu1 not equal to mu2 or anything one till right. So we have to take the help of details. So naturally, it's my request to all of you, when you apply any statistical analysis or hypothesis, so for any hypothesis, there are some assumptions. So for the similarly, since T is derived from normal distribution, so obviously your observation will follow the normality. That's the normal distribution. So I'll show how we check the normality. And this is basically a very small sample data set. So that's why you go for the normality checking by the weak Sapurio test. Sapurio test. So we go for the normality. There is the measurement of blood pressure is the dependent variable, and the group is the independent variable. So there are two groups. There is the independent, and the dependent variable is the blood pressure, measurement of blood pressure. So we check the normality of the measurement of blood pressure. So we select the measurement of blood pressure under dependent list. Okay. And we go for plots. So that is the normality plots. Normality plots we test. Okay. And continue, and then click OK. This output is visible? Hello?
No, sir.
No, sir, no output is coming right
actually,
now.
From tomorrow, tomorrow you'll get the advantage. Tomorrow, when I apply a Jamobi, this type of problem will not come, because in case of
separate window is coming. Yes, sir.
I know, but in case of Jamobi, same windows, same page, the output will be coming. Okay, sorry. So from tomorrow, some advantage you'll learn. This is the disadvantage of the Zoom. Because I am using Team, same way I am using Team, Google Meet, and Cisco, no problem. This is the.
So for multiple window, there is some sort of a.
I don't know. Okay, no problem. You have to adjust. Yes. Okay, thank you. Sorry.
Sujit sir, hello.
Yeah.
So it is around 8:15.
Okay, I have to close. Sorry. So better you ask
Sujit sir.
Not to see this thing.
Yeah. So shall we continue tomorrow, sir?
Tomorrow I'll continue. Otherwise, this is the last part. I'll finish within 5 minutes.
Please finish it, sir.
Okay. Within 5 minutes, I'll finish. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Now it is visible?
Yes, it is visible.
Okay. So just to check, this is the test of normality. Test of normality, measurement of blood pressure. This is the p-value. I am telling if the p-value is greater than 0.05, that is H0 is accepted. That is, it favors the normality. So that means our data set follows the normal distribution. Okay. So then now just So now you go to analyze, go to analyze, compare means, and independent sample t-test. So your test variable is the measurement, and grouping variable is the group. So define groups. So how many groups? There are two groups, 1 and 2. 1 and 2. Continue and click OK. Again, you get the result. Again, I have to go to the stop sharing.
Okay.
I understand. This is the problem of. Okay. Okay. I hope it is visible now.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Actually, already I told you this is called the 5-point summary. Already I told you this is a 5-point summary. This is the maximum of the data set. This is the Q3, third quartile. You know everything I know. Just I mean, this is the median, this is the Q1, and this is the minimum. Okay, this is a 5-point summary. Okay, and this is a very, very interesting thing. Another thing is that now what is t-test? This is my t-test. Our 10 observations. That is the imposing after old drug. This is the 10 new drug. This is the mean. And this just to check after imposing new drug, blood pressure measurement decreases. Okay. So this is called mathematically. There is the difference between x1 bar and x2 bar mathematically. Now come to the statistically. When you come for statistically, we have to test the hypothesis. So this is the t-test. On the basis of t-statistics, we get the value, and degrees of freedom is 18. Why? Because N1 plus N2 minus 2 degrees of freedom. And this is called significant value, p-value. That is p equal to, now greater than 0.05 means there is no significant difference between the two population means. That is, after imposing a new drug, so there is no difference about statistically. Statistically, there is no difference of the blood pressure level. But mathematically, there is difference. Mathematically, after imposing the new drug, there is some difference. But statistically, based on the p-value, there is no difference of the two population means. Okay. So I think better to close the class today. If you have any question, you can ask me. And today I will share my PPT. Today I'll share my all PPT. So after installing the SPSS and Jamovi today, so you can try to solve my problem. Okay. Already I have sent you the GB1, GB2, GB3 software. The sample, all samples I have sent you. So just you input the data. First you install the stepwise, install the package, then you input the data, and then you go for different types of t-test. And naturally, I have already sent you the ANOVA, this thing. And if I get time, tomorrow I can explain for the 15 minutes, because ANOVA is very important for the multiple regression. So before starting the regression class, I will start the ANOVA first. Okay. So can I stop the class now?
Yes, sir.
So thank you. And naturally, if you ask a question, you can ask me. So definitely I'll try.
So you might stop sharing. Yeah. I think, sir, there would be questions, and can we take them tomorrow, because we have really overshot time?
No. Well, but if there are the one or two questions, because tomorrow I have to start ANOVA, otherwise the participant will be in problem. Because I know what is the sequence of the advanced research technique. Because if we don't know the ANOVA and regression, we can't solve the logistic regression and discriminant analysis.
But I don't see any questions, sir, in the question answer box. There are no questions.
Okay, so better you ask to Sayon and Bonni Guho, so they will give the concept how to install the SPSS and Jamovi.
Okay, that has already been declared.
Okay.
Participants in the group can get in touch with.
Another thing. Today there will be session for the multiple choice question answering. Okay. So after this, so just you will give the link of multiple choice questions. And
so that question answer will have to be given today, sir?
Yeah, first set.
First set, okay. Prem, you can do that. Prem, you can do that?
You give the link and hello, you give the time for 45 minutes. and better to say 40 minutes at least.
Okay,
Because
sir.
we are all the teachers, we are all in the same platform. So this is not the student-teacher relationship.
Sujit, sir.
Yes.
So what to do, sir?
Sir, do you want them to answer right now?
They will give the answer right now, and definitely this is in the Google format, most probably Google form.
Yes, a Google form. It is Google form.
Actually,
Yes.
after giving the answer, they know the marks already.
But sir, we are exceeding time, so
No, actually, all time the question answer session after the class.
Okay. Okay.
After the class, if we start during my class, or naturally my
Right.
session will be lost.
Right.
Sir, probably some questions can be taken in the WhatsApp group also, sir.
So one thing you can do, you can give the question to the participant, and they can send you within 1 hour to you.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
1 hour to you. Suppose now the time is 8:22. If you the question within 8:30, so they can submit the question answer within 9:30.
Okay.
Okay, that is naturally they have to need some rest also.
Okay.
And that is basically simple, the multiple choice question, at least they have to take maximum 30 minutes time.
Okay. So Prem, you can put the questions in the mail, right?
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Not
Yes,
the-
sir. No, sir. We will give the link, sir.
Oh, you give the link.
Chat box, you give the
Yes,
link.
Okay, give the link.
Yes, sir. We will give the quiz link, sir.
Okay.
Hello, sir. Hello.
Hello.
Hello, sir. Shan here.
Bonni Shayon.
Hello, sir.
Yes,
Shan.
sir.
Shan here. Yes, sir.
So you discuss in detail for all the participants how
Yes,
to
sir.
install SPSS demo version of version 20 and
Yes, sir.
Jamovi. Okay,
Okay.
just you give. Yeah. So Shayon,
Yes, sir.
you can combine, you can say no problem.
Okay, sir. Bonnie, sir, will you or I should
Okay,
start?
you can share the link.
Okay.
Okay. Please
Okay,
share the link from where the SPSS can be downloaded, so we can proceed forward. You can share the link in the
in the
WhatsApp group.
WhatsApp group. Yes, I will send the link for in the WhatsApp group, and
Yeah.
this is not the link for the website. That actually I already downloaded the free trial version of SPSS 20 that sir is using. Sir having the original one, as because sir having the passcode of that software. So if you want to buy this software, so that will be, I will also discuss using the Snapchat of how to buying the SPSS 20 software. But right now the link is a Google Drive link where you can easily download the SPSS 20 and you can install it. It's very easy. And remember one thing, the SPSS 20 is for only for the 15 days. This is a trial version. And after that, I also send you the Jamovi link, as because Jamovi is a open source software, so you can easily install it, easily download it and install it. Okay, so I will be sharing all the links in the WhatsApp group. Okay, sir,
So
is it okay, sir?
Shayon,
Yes, sir.
already I have sent the Jamovi PPT. In the
Yes, sir.
PPT, the link is given.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
In the Jamovi PPT, the link is given.
Yes, sir.
Already I have sent.
Yes, sir. Sir, science, sir, you just highlight that link, sir.
Okay.
Yeah, okay, okay. I will highlight that link.
Yes, sir. You just highlight all those links, sir.
No problem. No
So
problem.
can I show the highlight the link? Shayon, na tui kore dibi. You can do that. No problem.
I
I
have
can do
sent.
that.
Okay.
It has been sent in the WhatsApp group also, sir.
Better you send in the WhatsApp group. That is better.
It has been sent, sir.
Oh, it has been sent. Okay.
Yes, sir. I have sent it.
Okay. Thank you.
Everybody can download the Jamovi from the link which is given there. You just have to click and download it. It is a 230 MB file. It will take half an hour if the speed is slow. If the speed is fast, it will take around 10 to 15 minutes only. You can download it and install it. It is free to use software. No problem in it. No passcode is required for that. For SPSS, what you have to do, you have to register in IBM, then you will get 15 days trial. Otherwise, what you have to do is, again, you have to install, delete it and install it to use the SPSS, because it is not free to use software.
Another thing, if you install Jamovi and SPSS today, so definitely we'll enjoy the other class, because if you have the software, so automatically you can solve my problems. Okay. And so naturally today after the class, I will send you all the PPT. Today, what we have used today, I will send you. And in my PPT, some problem is there by which you can input the data set directly in SPSS or in Jamovi also. So then if you can input directly the data set in SPSS, so easily you can understand the after input of the data set, what you have to do. And then your methodology will start. And then on the basis of objective, you have to use the when the correlation I will use, how you can use the mean, median, and descriptive statistics. So that is very, very simple. First you install SPSS, input some data, then automatically your methodology will come. So from tomorrow, actual multiple regression with the multivariate purpose will start. So it's my request to all the participants, today night you install all packages, both the packages, today night.
Okay, Prem, there's a question from Shubroto Ghosh. Can you unmute him?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Subrata Ghosh. Yes. Subrata Ghosh, you can unmute your mic and ask the question.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Good evening, sir.
Yes,
Can
sir.
we hear?
Good evening, Subrata.
Yeah, good evening. Sir, my question is that as variance is the square of standard deviation, but in some time when we make the analysis of some data set, suppose around 250 respondents data set in SPSS, so sometimes we use mean, standard deviation and variance in different columns. So what does our variance signifies in this case? Can we take only mean or standard deviation?
Actually, Subroto, I'm using, I'm so the very good question. Actually, I'm using mean and standard deviation. And you know, the square of standard deviation is a variance. Okay. So basically, standard deviation having some unit and variance naturally square of unit. Okay.
Yes, yes,
so naturally, you can say if we are using some variable x1, x2, x3, and naturally x1 having some unit, x2 having some unit, x3 having some unit.
Yes, sir.
So if you use the standard deviation, so unit must be same with the variable.
Yes, sir.
Is it clear?
Yes.
Now, another thing I'm telling you, you have to ask me, basically our objective in the maximum problem to standardize the problem. Okay. Why
yes,
we need standardize? Because to make it unit free. So that part I will discuss in the tomorrow's class.
Sir, means I wanted to say that what
no,
is
actually mean and standard deviation and variance is more or less same. We are using standard deviation, square of standard deviation, the variance.
Achha.
And naturally another thing, since your standard deviation can never be negative.
Yes.
But if we, understand, if we take the square root, we have to say standard deviation can never be negative.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Because of because square root, within the square root, the square term is there.
Yes, sir.
Naturally, in case of mathematics, we know the square root of 25 equal to plus minus 5.
Yes.
Correct? No.
Yes.
But in case of this standard deviation, there is a rule that error can never be negative.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Okay, sir.
Error can never be negative. I'll discuss tomorrow's class in detail.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir. Thank you. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Good night, sir.
There was a question within what time the quiz will have to be answered.
What time?
Within what time will the quizzes have to be answered?
If you give the link now, and if you open the link for 1 hour, so they can submit within 1 hour.
Okay, fine. So that is the answer.
1 hour is enough. 1 hour is enough.
So please submit within 1 hour from now. Okay.
So after getting the link, they have to get the link.
The link has been given, sir.
Oh, link has been given. Thank you.
Sir,
okay.
Another question. Where will the PPTs be given?
PPT, tomorrow, after 15 to 20 minutes, I will share you PPT to you, sir.
Okay, sir.
I'll give it to your mail. Okay.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir.
Just you after 15 to 20 minutes.
Fine. So I will circulate it to the participants.
Maybe within 30 minutes, because after this I have to take some 5 minutes.
Sir. Okay. Sure. Sure, sir. So with that, shall we close for tonight?
Okay. Thank you to all the participants.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, sir. And we will meet again tomorrow at 15 minutes before the program. Okay?
Yeah, 5:45 tomorrow we'll meet. So if you have any questions, so definitely you can tell me. I'll try my level best to answer the question. Another thing, tomorrow I'll start the ANOVA, because without ANOVA, I could not start the regression analysis.
Okay. So tomorrow we start at 5:45. Participants kindly be there by 5:45. and we'll start the session after that. Okay?
Okay.
Thank you. Good night. Take care. Prem, you can end the session now.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank
Okay.
you, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. See you tomorrow.
Okay. Can I leave?
Yes, sir. Surely.
Good night, sir.
Good night. Good night.
Good night.